Hello, everyone. Dr. Eames here. This time I'd like to talk to you about Henry Fayol's Principles of Organization. Now, of course, Fayol is the one that gave us the four functions of management that are the basis of modern management theory and what we teach today. The principles here are still widely used internationally and still form the basis of much of our thinking on what it is to be a manager. Originally, Fayol wrote his famous book, General Industrial Administration, as a rough translation from French, in 1919, but it was about 40 years or so before it got published in English. He was dead by then and never realized in his lifetime how famous he would become. Let's just look at some of these different principles because you will recognize that these are the sorts of things that are still part of business today. First is unity of command. This is a phrase that really means you report to one boss and one boss only. And think how essential that is. If you have more than one boss, it could get ambiguous. What if they gave you conflicting instructions? What if you're put in a position of having to prioritize one set of tasks from one boss over another? So we accept that unity of command means one boss and one boss only. Hierarchy of authority. This is really about reporting relationships. You ought to be able to, in any given company, trace who's at the top and who's at the bottom and who reports to who with a line of succession all the way from top to bottom. And you can do that with a organizational chart. Division of labor is deciding what jobs are necessary in our company. And what grows out of that, of course, is departmentalization, where we create the departments to put those jobs in. Um, Subordination of individual interests to the general interests is about really self-controlled behavior and the type of culture and norms that are expressed in the collective behavior of everyone who works in a company. Are we able to all agree that we're here for a certain reason and so forth? It's not to pursue personal agendas, it's to be here and pursue the mission of and the objectives of the organization, of the company. When it comes to authority, we say that the authority any given person has is vested in the job title itself, in the job description. So a CEO has certain duties and certain influence and authority, formal authority. It's spelled out in the job title. Same thing for any other employee. Your sphere of influence is in the job that you have. Um, Degree of centralization. This really refers to decentralized versus centralized decision making. Centralized decision making means almost all decisions come from the top and they have to filter down through the hierarchy of authority to the lower levels of the organization or the company to be enacted. Decentralization means you've spread some of the decision-making power to lowest levels or lower levels in an organization, and people were able to make low-level decisions and are given somewhat some of the responsibility. It's certainly more efficient and saves time. Clear communication channels. Certainly, there was an early recognition this time early on in the 20th century that communication between managers and workers was paramount. And today we know that it's even more important than ever. So we have to know what the hierarchy of authority is. We have to know who to talk to and how to go about it and what the procedure would be. But the channels have to be very explicit so we understand how to go about making our voices or our opinions heard whenever the situation might require it. When it comes to order, that simply means that there has to be a minimum set of rules, at least, to how we govern ourselves and what our behavior is collectively. So again, it is about the company culture, subordinating our personal agendas to the greater good, so to speak, which leads us really to the notion of equity, which is fairness. If we're going to have order, you certainly have to have equity. And equity means that how do we treat people, regardless of job description or authority level? Do we treat people with dignity, with respect? Do we indeed practice fairness in the way that we go about things? If we do, the idea is that we will have what he calls here esprit de corps, which is certainly a French phrase, which means for us morale. And we really want to have strong morale. It's part of our collective behavior and expression and so forth. Companies that show good morale and so forth really do produce more. They're more competitive in the marketplace. Okay, folks, that's all I want to talk about this time. I'll talk to you again soon.